Her name's Miss Pinker. And when I first moved to Atlanta, I could not understand anybody down here. I couldn't understand the black people or the white people. And you know, black people got a moment that took their last consonants off their word. And my teacher would say, Jasmine, go fetch me them snipers over yonder. And I'd be like, what is a sniper? Where is yonder? So I used to imitate everybody.
Yeah.
And I'd come home and I'd be like, back and forth. And, you know, my family would crack up. But little did I know that I would use that. Because I knew it was funny. I knew if I did a character that talked like Miss Baker. But what I didn't understand after that, that's kind of working backwards. Because a character has to be created in truth. And the truth is that was Miss Pinker's accent. So why is Whitney talking like that? So I did this whole backstory that she grew up, you know, pretty much secluded for black people. And she just started talking like the kid she went to school with. So when she went to Hillman and was thrust in an all-black environment, she stuck out.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I had to kind of justify it after I made the choice.
How did you feel playing Dina in school days?
Oh, Nadina in School Days was a blast. Nadina came before Whitley, even though School Days came out after I got Whitley. And I knew Spike Lee Spike Lee went to Morehouse when I was at Northside. And I used to perform at Morehouse all the time for their coronations and their fashion shows. You know, they were like, give Reverend Guy's daughter, she'll dance. My mother, she wants her. And I did the coronation for homecoming, for his homecoming, which was 1979. And he said, just get out there and give it up. I was like, okay. And I did. I just did what he told me to do. So we kept in touch. And when he did Bed-Stuy, We Cut Heads, which was his student film at NYU, his first big film was She's Gotta Have It. And I went to see, because I really didn't get what he did.
Yeah.
I didn't know what a filmmaker was.
Right.
I didn't know enough about movies to understand that it took 100 people to put the film together.
Yeah.
You know, I just saw the actors, and I didn't understand what the director did until I saw that, and that he had written it and created it. So when School Days came up, you know, he was like, I told you, send me your picture, you know, don't mess up. And I was like, well, what is the part? What is it about? He said, you know, it's about your people. You're going to be a wannabe.
See? Now, how did you feel about that? Because
I was
Dina,
angry.
yeah. So
I was like, I'm not a wannabe. Well, you know, I went off a little bit, and then when I was in the film, Spike divided our hotels.
wow.
He put the wannabes at the Regency Suites and jigaboos at the Ramada Inn.
So let us know what the wannabes are and who the jigaboos are, because for those that don't quite understand the groups.
Well, the movie was about a fictitious black college that, and it was talking about the racial division between light-skinned and dark-skinned blacks in, you know, on campus. And there were fraternities and sororities that were racially exclusive with the light skin, and then the outcasts from the fraternities were called the jigaboos, the darker ones on campus, which I thought was dated. I felt that that was a 1930s kind of sensibility until I found out from other people that that's still not. I don't know if it still is. I hope not. It's like, let's go. It's not.
Well, so tell me a little bit about Dominique LaRue.
Dominique LaRue was my role with Eddie Murphy in Harlem Nights, and she was basically the mistress to this gangster. I didn't have any love scenes with him though. But it was a little nerve-wracking. My first day on the set, I was sweating, and I was trying to be calm, but I felt very nervous inside, like my heart was beating like this. And I looked at myself in the mirror, and I said, get it together right now. Because nobody was there to talk to me or snap me out of it. You know, it's like I needed, because the nerves took over. I couldn't remember my lines. I was so, the first scene we did was in the big club, and I had never seen a set like that. Red Fox and Richard Pryor and Eddie and
What was
you
that
know,
like?
it was phenomenal, but I just didn't feel connected to my body. You know, I felt like I was watching it, not in it, you know, and it was very disconcerting, and I had to act like I was in control. You know, her character was like,
Oh, yeah.
whatever.
Oh,
She,
yeah.
I'm not impressed with anything. So after that first day, I just started having fun. But the first day on the set was pretty intimidating. It was a very big, it was a big budgeted movie. You know, I'd done school days. We ain't had no money. So it was like, come on, y'all, the sun's coming up. Hurry
Right,
up,
of course,
you know.
yeah.
And you know,
Yeah.
this was like you had a week in this one set to shoot one scene. You know, as much coverage as they wanted, and fabulous costumes, and
How could you stay in character with Eddie Murphy though?
I laughed a lot.
I'm sure. How could you not break character?
I laughed a lot. I mean, there's a couple of times in the scene with him, I am laughing for real.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't staying on script.
Yeah. Okay. And I
And I was like,
understand that.
that's
It's
not
tough.
your line.
Right.
Like that scene where I said, what's your real name? And he says Clevis or whatever his real name is.
Yeah.
And he was like, go ahead and laugh if you want to. Everybody, all of that was ad-lib.
Wow.
And I was just laughing, you
Wow.
know, after that point. But it was fun. Working with him was
Seems
fun.
like your looks helped you with getting casted.
Well, you know, there is a visual part of the business unless you're going to be on radio.
Right.
And so you have to look the part. The problem only with being only cast by look is that you can play a part that they may not think you look right for. For example, they think all Jamaicans are dark skinned. So, you know, even though I could play a Jamaican, and there are plenty of light-skinned Jamaicans, there are plenty of light-skinned, mixed-looking people in the Caribbean, period. If you're dealing with someone who only has one view of the Jamaican, you're not going to get the part. So it depends. It depends on who's casting, how open-minded they are, how closed-minded they are. So sometimes it works for me, sometimes it works against me. Sometimes I'm not dark enough, I'm not black enough, whatever.
How do you deal with that though? Because that's a part of the rejection part of the game.
It's frustrating.
Of course, yeah. How do you deal with that as a?
I mean, I remember going in for one of my many hoe roles, and I was beat. I mean, I had to walk the New York streets like that, you know, to get to my audition.
Yeah.
And I put my bag down and I stood up to do my part, and she said, I'm sorry, you're just not right. And I said, you're not gonna let me read? She said, no, you're really not right. And I knew, and after I saw the other girls they were seeing, I knew that I was dark enough. And it was always coming from a white person who didn't understand the culture, that there were street people of all colors, and there are prostitutes of all, like there was, but this is early 80s, things have changed.
Right,
but
of
it's
course.
just that your skin color becomes like a fashion statement.
Yeah.
Dark is in, light is in. There was a time when my, brown skinned sisters could not get roles if they were too intelligent. I've had girlfriends tell me that they were told, do that head thing. Directed to do that. Act more niggerish. Yeah, very insulting during the 80s.
Do you think?
Blatant.
Do you think it's changing now?
Oh,
Because-
yes.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, it's changed a lot. I mean, there was a time you wouldn't see dreads on camera, you wouldn't see braids, you wouldn't see natural hair. Even with Ipetha, all her years on Law and Order,
Right.
you know, she wore that wig.
Yeah. Oh, right.
'Cause
She has dreads.
She has dreads,
Yeah.
right. And maybe they didn't feel her character would do it, but it was not done. All my black friends had wigs. When they went to commercial auditions, when they went to soap auditions, because this is kind of pre-weave.
Yeah. Pre-weave.
Yeah, you
In the
have to
weave
understand the
now.
world before weave.
Yeah.
Because now weaves have taken over,
Right.
and everybody's got, they can do whatever they want with their hairdo. But it was a very weavy kind of time.
Right.
So in 2009, you made your directorial debut for Color Girls. How was the transition for that? What was your experience with it?
Well, for Colored Girls Who Committed Suicide When the Rainbow Was Enough was a wonderful experience for me in directing. And my first time kind of pulling together everything I ever learned from anybody and seeing what I knew and seeing how I could create. The thing I wanted to be as a director most was inspiring and to bring out the best in my actors. And so I began directing the way I like to be directed. But I learned that that wasn't enough. Sometimes people I would need to be meaner to them, meaner than I would have liked to have been talked to, but they responded. Or make someone do it over and over because I knew they could do it and I needed to see it. And some actors I just left alone. I said a few things to them and they were brilliant and I just left it alone. But my Colored Girls, I wanted to be celebratory. I didn't want it to be dark and dingy and banging up on our men all the time because that's not my experience and I don't get off on that. And I felt like there was enough light in that piece to balance that. That's a directorial choice. You could shift that poetry in different directions to make it mean different things. Everything didn't have to be, oh, woe is me, look what that man done left me with, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, that gets boring too.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's not our complete truth. Our men are valuable.
Of course.
They're valuable. So that piece was very important to me, that I did it the way I wanted, but also that I let those women be free in their own beauty.
Which one of those? I did that in high school. I was the puertorriqueña.
Oh.
So
nice.
which one of those roles could you relate to, Jasmine? Not the dark, dingy version of it,
Right.
but from
I
your.
love the monologues, like the lady in yellow when she lost her virginity and that whole story. I love the lady in reds was the most difficult. I never wanted to do that. And where Crystal Fox went to make that real was so amazing every night. I just thought, and always in rehearsal, sometimes I would tell her she didn't have to rehearse that day because she had it. And other days, like when she got done, I just wanted to crack jokes. I wanted somebody to fart or something, just break the tension.
Right.
Because
It's deep.
it's very deep, and she was amazing in doing it. I love Somebody Walked Away with All My Stuff. And that was pretty much my theme song when I first moved here, because I had just been divorced and I moved here with my little girl, and every time I heard somebody that walked away with all my stuff, it kind of just rang true. Rang true for me.
So how did March 28th, 1999 change your life?
That's when I had my baby. I had my child on March 28th, 1999, and I was so happy that she was here. I felt like I had been waiting for her. I was 37 when I had Imani, and part of me was beginning to think it may not happen. I may not have a baby. I may adopt, which was fine, or I was everybody's godmama because I was like just the last one that didn't have no kids. So she was a true blessing for me to be able to have her, and mixed with fear of knowing that I'm responsible for someone else's life. Mixed with that fear, and my prayer has always been that I don't get in Imani's way of what she's supposed to be. I always know that's not my baby, that God put her here and just gave me the right to influence her in the beginning. And that's kind of how I parented her. She may not feel that way.
Right.
She may not think I'm letting her be her, but
Right. What would you say to a 15-year-old Jasmine guy today in 2012?
I've met some 15-year-old Jasmine guys, and I don't have to say anything